That's B-U-R-N-E-double-T.
B-U-R-N-E-double-T. Sonny Burnett and the place to be, coming back at you from the east coast of the Salton Sea, Bombay Beach, California. Sat out on a hot desert summer day to tackle the entire city. And technically I didn't. I may have left a couple of very small stones unturned, but I got damn close. I'm going to quickly run you through the small community. Great place for a ride. Somehow pulled 13 miles out of just basically spinning in circles. Can't wait to do it again. So we're going to kick things off, headed southbound on Avenue A from Highway 111. The north-south streets are letters, the east-west streets are numbers, with the exception of Isle of Palms, which is the westmost north-south street. Letters go up to H, so technically it would be I. Maybe that's how they came up with aisle. So to my right here is just desert. There's nothing there, and it's a long way until there is something there, whatever the next community is. Past a couple convenience stores they got in town, and down here at the end you'll see the berm. There's probably a better word for it, that they created a number of years ago to keep the sea from flooding out. You can see it's all built up there because Salton Sea is about another quarter mile from 5th Street, I would say. Maybe a little bit less than that. Roads are all paved pretty well. Not perfect, but nothing's too awful. So here we go, headed on to 5th Street. 5th Street is a one-way, heading in this direction. And I was just painting the town. Did all the north-south streets first, and then I did the east-west streets. So there's some open real estate and beat-down real estate there on 5th. There to the right, here Avenue B is one of the two entrances to the beach. So now we're headed back northbound. On Avenue B, you can see some of the local domiciles people are residing in. Everything from trailers to homes to shacks. Pretty quiet right here. Definitely some empty lots on Avenue B, that's for sure. There's a fixer-upper for you. Needs a little 409. Be ready to go. Bring your sleeping bag. There's a townie. Maybe walking down to the ski-in for a drink. Did stop at the ski-in for a bite to eat and a beer afterwards. Had to turn myself away after one beer. Long drive back to Palm Desert. Here we are now. Back on 5th. West on 5th. And here is Avenue D. Headed back north. You can see some people have some interesting paint jobs. There's a couple pretty nice houses. I just turned the camera, but that one wasn't too bad. Real mix. Nothing super high-end. Certainly no mansions in Bombay Beach, but it's not all. Like this one here, looks like a landfill. That's somebody's living in there, and their stuff has begun to overflow the boundaries of their fence. How'd you like to have that for a neighbor? Some more interesting paint jobs. Probably saw a total of 3 people on foot, and let's say 5 at the absolute most in about an hour. Saw one guy on a bike. Okay, here we are, still north on D. That lady actually waved. I had waved to her and she waved back. That was very nice. So now we're headed back towards the north end of town. Way out on the horizon there is 111 on the other side of a quarter mile of desert. And here we are, right on 1st. Now we're headed south on Avenue E, back towards the beach. There's a windmill house right there. I had seen and read of that place before I came here. Not sure if it was occupied. Looked like it might not have been. And here you can see Avenue E is the other way to get up into the beach. This to the left with the barbed wire, I think, was like a pumping station for water or something. So here we are. That was Avenue F right on First. And then we're going to turn right on Avenue G in a moment. I'm coming to the western edge of town now. Like I said, it goes up to H. So what is that? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. There are 9 north-south streets. There's a really nice house to the right there. Well, it wasn't that hot. I mean, it was over 100. But the lack of people that you see outside doing anything, like no one's driving, no one's doing nothing. Okay, here we are, back on 5th, left on H, Avenue H, so we're getting to the edge here. There's some interesting homes, interesting domiciles. There's a person in a vehicle here. I think they were a looky-loo. I don't believe that was a resident, so I made sure to kind of swerve in front of them as I went by. Shake them up a little bit. Maybe they thought I was a townie. Here's one of a couple very interesting sculptures, shall we call it, that you can see here in town. Right at the corner of Avenue H and First. It's actually a plane, nose down. Couldn't imagine what that took. A crane, no doubt, or I don't even know. Very interesting. Modern art. Okay, here we go. So I had just taken my first break for water at Isle of Palms and 5th. So now I got to tackle the east-west streets. So just for continuity's sake, I went west on 5th, which, as I said earlier, is a one-way. I'm going the wrong way. I think it's the only one-way street in town because it's not wide enough. I imagine at one time it may have been wide enough before they built that berm, but now it's only wide enough for one car, so it's a one-way. So I'm breaking the law. Sort of ignorant, but I couldn't bear to break continuity in my route. Let's see here. So coming up on, here we go. We're coming up on Avenue B here. Yep, there's Avenue B. You can see the entrance to the beach on my left. Another interestingly painted house and a nice house. I went past it 20 times and I just kept thinking, where are the people? Is someone living there? Is there someone in there now? Sitting in the air conditioning? It was warm, but when you're really conscientious about taking a rest now and then, and obviously drinking a ton of fluids, my energy level was great. After 13 miles, I could have kept going, and I decided that I probably should just call it a day, so I did. But I could have went and done the whole route over again, probably. Okay, so here we are. This is east on 3rd. There's the only fella I saw on a bike, kind of BMX. Going past Avenue D there, I believe. Some kind of ramshackle type dwellings here. There's not much left of that vehicle. That's some on the Trailer Park Boys tip right there. And this is Avenue C, I think. I'm not exactly sure. There's another sculpture, the flying fish plane. This tow truck driver I saw a couple times, and it was making me nervous because I parked at the Ski Inn for lack of another place to leave my car for an hour, and I started getting pretty nervous that it was going to get towed. Okay, so I did a loop around town to cover anything I hadn't covered during my north-south and east-west runs. Took a break at First and A, chugged some water, and then I hear him going down one of the two alleys in town. There's an alley between First and Second and another between Second and Third. And it's not paved. This is desert dirt or sand. And you can see there's all kinds of wreckage back here. One of my rare incidents with the vehicle right there. I could have gone 30 miles an hour the whole time and it wouldn't have mattered. Yes, this alley is a wasteland. I do regret I did not hit the other alley between first and second, so that's about the only piece of roadway in town that I did not cover, because I was a little bit confused. I hadn't planned on the alleys at all, and I noticed them as I was riding. I didn't notice them on the map. If you do zoom in on Google Maps, you could see them. But yeah, it's interesting back here. I'd like to walk down these alleys at night when it's dark and have myself a cold beer as I did so. I'll have to do that sometime. Okay, so I really didn't know what was up on the beach. So here we go, entering the beach through Avenue E, and here's the famous Bombay Beach ruins. Some of which is modern art, some of which is ruins. There's what's left of a boat. No real roads up here, just sand. I probably wouldn't come up here in a car. I did see someone that did. It was actually quite bikeable, even on my fairly junk bike. On a better bike, it would actually be fun. Pretty hard-packed sand, so you didn't have too many spots that you really sunk in. There's a bit of a religious tribute here amongst the ruins. We're in the beach. Incredibly peaceful up here, incredibly quiet. So quiet. You can hear your heartbeat and hear your labored breath in the hot desert sun and nothing else. So I'm traveling, I don't even know what direction, east along the beach here. And I saw some other stuff in the distance. I figured I'd check that out. And here we go. There's a big concrete type sculpture, concrete star filled with rebar. And it was interesting because there were signs not to climb on it, presumably because the concrete may be brittle and they don't want someone to fall and get impaled by a piece of rebar. So they put about 300 feet of razor wire in there to keep people out. So it sure kept me out. So that's enough of the beach for me. Here I come back out Avenue B northbound. There's 5th. And this is about the time when I was pretty much running out of things to do. So I ended up doing a couple more circles and riding around, and I just had the excitement of a kid who didn't want to call it a day. But that's all for Bombay Beach. I highly recommend you get out there with a bike and check it out for yourself. That's Sonny Burnett signing off.